name is Carolyn, and I'm a professional volunteer. I guess that's what you would say. I'm a retired business owner, grandma, mom. Done a lot of volunteering through my life. In my estimation, it's my way to give back to a community and to people that have helped me. So I've worked with abused women and children. I try to organize things that draw different groups of people together and raise money for them, make people more aware. I owned a fire equipment and industrial first aid company, so we went out into the corporate world and kept fire extinguishers and first aid kits to OSHA standards. Grew up in Washington, came to Portland, Oregon at 6 months old and barely left. I grew up in Southeast Portland. My childhood was probably not the most ideal, but I think from struggles comes strength, and my father was a very abusive alcoholic. My mother was a little angel who was beaten 3 or 4 times a week. I would wake on the next morning afraid to go down into their bedroom to see what she looked like because her eyes would be swollen shut and her lips would be bleeding. And he was not a nice man. He was not a nice man at all. So for me, I became the mother to my sister, which is why I taught her. My mother's role in the household was to attempt to keep him away from us and hurting us. He beat me unconscious. He was just not a nice man. He was an angry man, and at this age of my life, I feel sorry for him. He missed out a lot. Oh, I wanted my first period so badly because I was the only one except one girlfriend who hadn't had it. But it was not a thing that people talked about. My mother never talked to me. Health class, they said a little, but never would you talk about it in mixed company. After the excitement, which probably was a year or so, the products that you had made it a real hassle. I think if I was having my periods today, it would be so much easier. But we had really poor products to deal with the issue. And then as I got a little older, I did a lot of clotting and I ended up having a hysterectomy. And the pads of that day were so much different than what you have today. So you had a pad and it had like tails on it of the material, and you wore an elastic kind of a contraption, a band that went around your waist, and then you connected those tails to little clips, and that's what held the pad in place. It wasn't for years that they made the big discovery to have some glue on the bottom of the pad that held it in place. And I hear about the newspaper and the towels being used instead of pads. I realize how difficult it would be not to have pearl. I remembered that I started using Tampax because I was in high school and it was a girls', I don't even know where we were, it was some school thing, and I had my period, and so it was a big deal. This girl taught me how to do it. I mean, I had no clue because no one had given me any lessons. They didn't have YouTube then. So now my husband and I would talk about it. But again, I still think there was a little bit of, not embarrassment, but uncomfort. If your mother doesn't talk to you about it and your school makes it seem like a taboo and you don't see any men or boys ever talking about periods, then you internalize there's something wrong talking about this. So it's hard to break that feeling. So I didn't want Heather, my daughter, to ever be in a position of not being educated, regardless of what it was. If it was reproduction or it was menstrual cycle or whatever. So I started early talking with her, and I think she was about 12 or 13 when she started her period. There are times when I still go, am I really talking about this in front of men? And, and I'm really retraining myself at 70 that it's okay, that it's a normal process, that men and women both need to talk, that we're empowering a whole half of our community by talking about these things. I I got my husband Maury involved with Camions by actually talking with him about it, showing some YouTube clips and such. And now he likes to be busy. It's wonderful that he's like that. So he likes to do woodworking, and one of my friends from the food bank and Maury are working now making. He's making bird feeders and bird houses. She's going to help market them, and we pay for the products, and 100% of the proceeds as we sell them turns right around to Camions to help women who need the products.